Ladies and gentlemen, to everyone listening under the sound of my voice, this is your confirmation. You've cried in silence. You've sacrificed without recognition. You've endured seasons where you had to clap for others while your hands were empty. But I came to tell you today, you are about to be rich. I'm not just talking about money though, that's coming too. I'm talking about rich in clarity, rich in confidence, rich in opportunities, rich in time, peace, health, and yes, financial overflow. Because when you align with your purpose, wealth follows. When your character matures, your capacity expands. And when your heart stays faithful in the famine, abundance comes looking for you in the harvest. This isn't hype, it's a shift. And that shift is already happening inside you, around you, and ahead of you. Wealth begins in the mind before it ever manifests in your hands. Because the foundation of prosperity is not money, it's mindset. Everything you produce externally flows from what you believe internally. A person who sees themselves as poor, undeserving, or always lacking will unconsciously make decisions that keep them in that condition, no matter how much money they touch. That's why some people can win the lottery and lose it all within a few years. It's not because they lack the money, it's because they never changed the mindset that governed how they saw wealth, how they handled increase, and how they valued purpose. True wealth is a mental framework that shapes how you view opportunity, manage resources, and respond to responsibility. When your mind is renewed, your life begins to align with abundance. You start to see possibilities where others see problems. You begin to think in terms of investments rather than just income. You learn that wealth is not just about accumulation but multiplication. And you recognize that true riches are not measured in what you earn, but in what you steward. Wealthy people think differently. They plan, they prioritize, and they prepare. They don't spend to impress. They spend to build. That kind of thinking begins in the mind long before it shows up in the bank account. Most people want financial breakthrough, but few are willing to discipline their thoughts to match their desire. They pray for increase but maintain a scarcity mentality. They speak words of abundance but live in patterns of fear and limitation. Your mindset determines your attitude. As long as your thinking is small, your results will be small. As long as your perspective is based on survival, you will never step into overflow. That's why mental transformation is a non-negotiable requirement for anyone serious about becoming wealthy. The soil of the mind must be cultivated before the seeds of wealth can grow. Wealth also demands vision. If you cannot see yourself living a different life, creating multiple streams of income, owning assets, and making an impact with your resources, then it will be impossible to walk into that reality. You cannot possess what you cannot perceive. That's why renewing your mind is not a luxury, it's a requirement. Your thoughts must align with your goals. Your self-talk must agree with your future. Your belief system must be elevated to match the level of abundance you're praying for. Changing your mindset requires more than just positive thinking. It demands discipline, exposure, education, and intentional relationships. Who you surround yourself with will either sharpen your perspective or shrink it. What you consume. Books, podcasts, conversations will either expand your financial intelligence or stunt your growth. Wealthy people invest in their minds before they invest in markets, because they know if the mind is not ready, the money won't stay. This is why many people are delayed in experiencing breakthrough, not because it isn't time, but because their minds are still limited by fear, past trauma, generational patterns, or lack of knowledge. Mental poverty is often the root of financial poverty. Until you believe you are worthy of wealth, capable of managing it, and called to multiply it, you will unconsciously sabotage your own increase. The moment your mind agrees with abundance, your life starts moving in that direction. Your past struggles were not meaningless setbacks. They were divine training grounds preparing you for financial responsibility and maturity. Every hardship you endured, every season where you had to stretch a dollar, every moment you felt the weight of not having enough was equipping you with something far greater than money. It was developing wisdom, discipline, patience, and discernment. When you had to choose between needs and wants, you learned how to prioritize. When you had to say no to unnecessary spending because of limited income, you were unknowingly strengthening your financial backbone. Struggle teaches in ways that comfort never can. It humbles you, sharpens your decisions, and forces you to think differently about money, not as a toy or trophy, but as a tool and a trust. Many people desire financial increase, but few have the maturity to manage it. The maturity is usually not taught in a classroom. It's learned in the school of life. When you've known what it feels like to go without, you don't take abundance for granted. You learn to honor every resource, to track your expenses, to save what you can, and to give even when it's uncomfortable. Struggles force you to become creative, to think outside the box, to explore new streams of income, and to value even the smallest increase. Those habits become the foundation for wealth later in life. Without struggle, many people would never learn the self-control needed to manage large sums of money. They would spend recklessly, give emotionally, and borrow irresponsibly. But struggle demands that you pay attention, that you count the costs, and that you weigh your choices with wisdom. Financial maturity is not about how much you make. It's about how well you manage. Some of the most mature people financially are not those with the highest incomes, but those who've learned to live below their means, invest wisely, delay gratification, and resist the pressure to impress others. That kind of mindset is forged in seasons of testing. When you've been broke but still managed to stay out of debt, still honored your commitments, still saved a little, and still gave to others, you were passing financial tests without even realizing it. Those tests were shaping your character, preparing you for the weight of more, and proving that you can be trusted with greater resources. Your past struggles also taught you the value of hard work. When nothing came easy, when every dollar had to be earned with sweat and sacrifice, you learned perseverance. You gained a deeper respect for the process, for the long game, for building instead of begging. That work ethic becomes one of your greatest assets when wealth starts to come, because you won't waste it, you won't depend on shortcuts. You know how to sustain it, how to grow it, and how to protect it. The pain of your past developed the principles you'll need in your future. Every delayed opportunity, every closed door, every tight season was not rejection, it was preparation. It was grooming you to handle more with humility and stewardship. You've been tested in lack so you can be trusted in plenty. And now that you've survived the classroom of struggle, you're ready to graduate into a new level of responsibility. Prosperity is not a random event or an accidental outcome. It is the result of intentional living, rooted in discipline, purpose, and vision. Many people chase prosperity as if it's something outside of themselves, something to be found or stumbled upon, but prosperity responds to order, structure, and clarity. Discipline is the foundation upon which sustainable wealth is built. Without it, any form of prosperity becomes temporary. Discipline governs how you spend, how you save, how you invest, and how you grow. It trains you to make decisions based on principles rather than emotions. It requires you to say no to distractions so you can say yes to your destiny. Discipline is what keeps your life organized so that prosperity has a place to stay when it arrives. Without it, even unexpected financial increase will be mishandled and misused. But discipline alone isn't enough. Prosperity is also attracted to purpose. When your life has a clear reason for being, when your decisions are aligned with a greater mission, resources begin to flow in your direction. People support what they understand, and the universe makes room for those who know where they're going. Purpose gives your money meaning. It tells your resources where to go and what to do. Without purpose, prosperity becomes a trap, an empty pursuit of more with no direction. But when you're walking in purpose, you attract the right connections, the right ideas, the right timing, and the right doors. You begin to use money not just for pleasure, but for impact. You no longer chase wealth for identity because you've already found identity in your assignment. Purpose ensures that when prosperity comes, it amplifies your influence, not your insecurity. Alongside discipline and purpose stands vision. Vision is the ability to see beyond your current circumstance. It is the inner picture of your future that pulls you forward when nothing else makes sense. Prosperity looks for visionaries because people with vision know how to multiply what they receive. A person with vision doesn't just see a dollar. They see what that dollar can become. They don't just want to consume. They want to create. Vision gives you effort direction. It allows you to build with the end in mind. When you have vision, you're not waiting for success to find you. You're preparing for it in advance. You budget differently, think differently, speak differently, and plan differently. Vision inspires consistency, and consistency attracts all three. Discipline, purpose, and vision work together like magnets. They create an environment that prosperity feels safe. Entering, prosperity doesn't thrive in chaos, confusion, or carelessness. It looks for places where it can grow, be respected, and be multiplied. That's why some people can attract temporary wealth but never sustain it. They lack the internal infrastructure that prosperity requires. But when you build a life of order, align yourself with a mission greater than money, and keep your eyes focused on where you're going, prosperity will find you. You won't have to chase it. It will be drawn to you because you're prepared to manage it. Prosperity is not just about income, it's about alignment. And when your life is aligned with discipline, guided by purpose, and driven by vision, prosperity flows naturally, not forcefully. It becomes the fruit of your focus and the evidence of your growth. The season of hidden labor always precedes the season of public reward, because greatness is not built in the spotlight. It is forged in the secret place. Every person who has ever achieved anything meaningful went through a time where their work was unnoticed, uncelebrated, and unappreciated. It is in these hidden seasons that character is formed, skills are sharpened, and the foundation for lasting success is laid. When no one is watching, your motives are purified. When no one is clapping, your discipline is tested. When no one is validating you, your identity is rooted in purpose rather than praise. These are the seasons that stretch you and prepare you for the weight of the reward that is coming. Without this process, public reward becomes dangerous because it can inflate ego, distract from the mission, and expose unpreparedness. But hidden labor builds endurance, integrity, and the kind of strength that fame cannot destroy. Most people want recognition without preparation. They want the platform without the process. But the truth is, whatever you build in private is what you will sustain in public. If you skip the season of obscurity, you miss the training that teaches you how to handle pressure, criticism, and responsibility. It is in the hidden seasons where you learn how to be consistent, even when it feels like nothing is working. You get up early, you stay up late, you work when you're tired, and you push forward even when there's no applause. This hidden labor proves your commitment and reveals your capacity. It tests whether you're doing it for show or out of true purpose. And those who endure that season without quitting are the ones who are trusted with public reward at last. In the hidden season, you also learn to master your craft. There is time and space to make mistakes, to grow, to adjust, and to refine your gift without the weight of outside opinions. You are given the grace to fail privately so that you can succeed publicly. You gain depth, not just visibility, because when your time comes, you will not only be seen, you will be ready. People will call it overnight success, but they won't see the nights you stayed up studying, working, praying, and believing when everything in you wanted to give up. They will admire your fruit, but they will never fully understand the price of your roots. That is the nature of hidden labor. It demands everything from you while giving you nothing in return, at least not immediately. But it's never wasted. It's never overlooked. It's never in vain. This is the divine pattern of preparation. Even seeds must go underground before they sprout. Even champions must train in silence before they win in the arena. There is always a gap between when you start and when people notice. That gap is where your future is forged. It's where your faith is tested. It's where your endurance is built. And when the season shifts, when your name starts being mentioned in rooms you've never entered, when doors open that you didn't knock on, it will be the result of what you sowed in the dark. The hidden season is not a punishment, it is a setup. It is a divine cocoon preparing you for a life you won't have to chase, because it will be chasing you. You're not chasing money. Money is being drawn to your assignment, because true wealth is a byproduct of purpose, not pursuit. When you are walking in alignment with the reason you were born, provision begins to follow you. Money was never designed to be your master. It was designed to serve the mission you were created to fulfill. The moment you step into clarity about who you are, why you're here, and what you've been gifted to do, you activate an invisible magnet that attracts the right resources, opportunities, and people to fuel that assignment. This is why many people chase money but never find fulfillment. They're running after result instead of running in the direction of their purpose. But when your life becomes centered around impact instead of income, money starts showing up as a servant, your vision. Assignment carries with it a gravitational pull. Your gifts make room for you, but your assignment gives those gifts direction. When you commit to becoming excellent at what you've been called to do, value begins to increase around you. And where value increases, money follows. Money looks for solutions, and your assignment is the answer to a specific problem in the world. As long as you're distracted by trends or trying to mimic someone else's path, money remains elusive. But when you fully embrace your identity and focus on building what you were born to build, the marketplace begins to recognize your authenticity. People pay for clarity, confidence, and consistency, all of which are fruits of someone living in their assignment. You don't have to beg for support. When you're walking in purpose, purpose commands provision. Vision unlocks value. When you show up with something meaningful, well-developed, and rooted in service to others, people are willing to invest in it. They don't invest because you're desperate. They invest because you're delivering something that matters. The world doesn't reward effort alone. It rewards results. And when you are walking in your assignment, results are inevitable. Your impact begins to echo beyond your immediate circle, and doors begin to open without you forcing them. This is how money starts to chase you, not because you're manipulating outcomes, but because you've become a conduit of value. Money is a tool, not a destination. If you focus only on chasing money, you may gain income, but lose meaning. But if you chase your assignment, you gain both. You get to live a life of fulfillment and overflow. Your assignment gives you the authority to command in your domain. It gives you the confidence to stand in rooms, pitch ideas, and solve problems with conviction. And that conviction translates into influence, and influence often brings income. Many people are exhausted because they are running after money in areas that were never meant for them. But when you stay in your lane, you accelerate. When you do what you were designed to do, provision finds you. You don't have to strive when you're aligned. You don't have to hustle for validation when your assignment already validates you. The money begins to appear as you walk forward in faith, in focus, and in full expression of your calling. Wealth is not found in chasing, it's found in becoming. And when you become who you were created to be, the money will always follow. So as we come to the end of this message, remember this: you were never designed to chase money. You were born with an assignment, and that assignment carries everything you need, including provision, favor, and opportunity. When you align with your purpose, money is drawn to the value you create, the problems you solve, and the passion you carry. Don't let the noise of the world convince you to pursue riches without reason. Instead, pursue your assignment with excellence, discipline, and faith. Let your gifts speak, let your vision lead, and let your purpose anchor you. The world doesn't need another copy, it needs the original you, fully awake, fully committed, and fully walking in destiny. And as you do, the resources will come, the doors will open, and money will no longer be your master. It will be your servant. Stay faithful. Your assignment is the magnet, and what you need is already on its way.